Hello, and welcome to this course about the unintended consequences of information technology. Thank you for taking an interest. Our first video is the view from Mount Apple. When the prophet Steve Jobs had received the revelations for the new cyber world on Mount Apple, he descended, carrying with him the digital commandments for future generations, the iPod, the iPhone, and the iPad. These beautiful devices he distributed to the peoples of the world, regardless of nationality, color, or creed. The prophet Jobs did speak unto the multitudes that their 40 years in the analog desert had expired, and they were now free to travel the galaxy, even without a college degree, confident that all the world's knowledge and entertainment would fit into their pocket. The prophet Jobs urged the people to be fruitful and multiply, so that every iPhone may have a child. Thus it came to pass that the world's greatest high-tech storyteller created the future he had imagined. My name is Paul Weinswag, and this course describes some of the unintended consequences of information technology. I call it blowback, a term I borrowed from the CIA, which has long employed the phrase to describe the unanticipated and unforeseen consequences of meddling in the affairs of other nations. Similarly, the blowback from information technology has riddled the world with countless unintended and unforeseen effects. The course is also designed to address the problems of balance between the remarkable technologies of the information age and the values and ethics that are central to the progressive evolution of our humanity. We have been dazzled for decades by the astonishing achievements in science and technology, and especially information technology with the internet, smartphones, and social media. Lately, however, the shiny heaven promised by high-tech missionaries has begun to fade and present many unforeseen problems. Here are some of the questions which this course seeks to address. Where are the realistic threats from artificial intelligence? How is information technology and the internet transforming job markets, human psychology, healthcare, and education? How does the digital world, expressed as weapons of mass distraction, affect the state of popular culture and the generational divide? And when does technology become technopoly? Let me tell you where I'm coming from, and it will give you an idea of where I'm going in these lectures. My background is in the arts, humanities, and social sciences. My father was a serious composer and teacher. My mother was a homemaker and late-blooming novelist and short story writer. I did graduate work in sociology at the University of Toronto and taught social sciences at several universities, off and on for a couple of decades. In the mid-80s, I met a female engineer in Ottawa. Her name is Paulina. She was an offshore and Arctic engineer and risk analysis manager for the Canadian government. Paulina was a Soviet defector in 1971 and the only defector from Eastern Europe to escape at Gander Airport, known as the Hole in the Iron Curtain, with small children in tow and the KGB hot on her heels. In 1987, during a rare alignment of the planets, Woodstock generation sociologist married no-nonsense ex-Soviet engineer. When we met, Paulina's two boys were already grown up, fully wired for the 21st century, and composed entirely of stem cells. I am speaking, of course, of science, technology, engineering, and math. We embarked on a series of exotic, entrepreneurial and technology-based international projects in various countries. Having come of age as a member of the analog generation, I was dragged, kicking and screaming, by Paulina into the digital age. So these lectures are about the tension between what the British scientist and novelist C.P. Snow called the two cultures, science and the humanities. Like Joni Mitchell, I've looked at life from both sides now. If capitalism is the principle of creative destruction, according to the economist Joseph Schumpeter, then rapidly evolving science and information technology in recent decades have become the nuclear version of creative destruction, altering lifestyles, relationships, psychology, politics, work habits, job markets, and the transfer of wealth. When we examine the conventional categories of technology in human history, we discover a remarkable timeline. The Paleolithic period, or Old Stone Age, lasted for hundreds of thousands of years. The Neolithic period, or New Stone Age, lasted for several thousand years. The Industrial Revolution, beginning in the mid-1700s, spanned less than 2 centuries. The world's first electric grid, without which our modern world could not exist, was hooked up in 1882, just over 5 generations ago, to a few hundred lamps in a small neighborhood of New York City. The technological revolution, the age of film, television, the microchip and computer, satellites and fiber optics, can be measured in a couple of generations. And the age of the internet, which is turning the world upside down and inside out, is barely 3 decades old. The ubiquitous iPhone is about 10 years old. The number of mobile phone users around the world is expected to pass 5 billion by 2019. Time, oh good, good time, asked the folk song, "Where did you go?"